Whoops, ran out of time in the last video. So our next one is going to be vocabulaire en deux, which is the second half of the vocabulary for chapter 1. This one may not seem as useful now because it is all about classroom related things. And I know that this year or this summer you are taking this class online with me, so we're not really seeing as much of a classroom as you would in a typical classroom, but starting in French 2, when you will be in a typical classroom, you will need these classroom items to discuss things in the room. So, starting up at the top, we've got un bureau, which is a desk, une carte, which is a map, un CD and un DVD, which is a CD and a DVD. You probably figured that out. Une chaise, which is the word for chair, and un or une élève, which is our word for a student. And in a couple videos from now, you're going to find out the difference between un and une, and why some words have un and some words have une, and why some words like élève have both. And then we're going to come to, oh no, the video doesn't film all the way down here. There we go. There we go. So we've got une fenêtre, which is the word for a window. Une feuille de papier, which is how we say a sheet of paper. I know it looks like foil, but it's actually going to be feuille. Une fille, which is our word for a girl. And un garçon, which is a boy. And then un lecteur de CD, or un lecteur de DVD, which is how we say a CD or DVD player. And then if you don't have these written down yet, you can pause here. If you do, we're going to go to the next section. Let me move the camera up a little bit here. There we go. And up here we've got un livre, which is our word for a book. Un ordinateur, which is our word for a computer. It can be abbreviated to un ordi, but make sure you are fully aware of how to spell ordinateur and what it sounds like and what it looks like before you start abbreviating only to un ordi. Une porte, which is the word for a door. The word portal comes from the same root, so if you are familiar with what a portal is, if that helps you remember what une porte is, I hope that works out for you. Un poster, which is a poster. Shocking. And then un or une professeur, more commonly abbreviated to just un or une prof, which is a teacher. We tend to use this word a little bit more just for college professors, but over there, un or une prof can be used for a teacher of any grade. And then we scroll a little bit here to une salle de classe, which is a classroom. Une table, which is a table. Again, another big surprise. Un tableau is our word for a board, and it used to mostly just refer to chalkboards, but now we've also got whiteboards and smart boards. You can really use un tableau for all of those. And just to note, it does sound similar to table, but it's not quite the same, so listen for a second. Une table, un tableau. Just make sure you're aware of the differences and what those sound like. And then we've got une télévision, which is the way to say a television, or the abbreviated version, a TV, would be une télé. And then un cahier is our word for notebook. I know pronunciation-wise it doesn't quite look the same. It's literally like saying kai and then ye. So, répétez un cahier. All right. So now we're going to go to some phrases that we would use in a classroom. These are just different ways to talk about lots and lots of different objects. You can use all of these words in different scenarios. It's just right now we're going to talk about it mostly with classroom objects. So the word dans is how we say in. You'll see the phrase dans la salle de classe a lot in the classroom. That will come up very much in the next couple activities from this section. And then we've got the phrase il y a, which means is there or are there. So if you wanted to say, is there a window? If you were talking about a classroom, you would say il y a une fenêtre. And you can answer negatively or positively. So if there is not, you'll say non, il n'y a pas de, and then whatever they asked about. So in that case, I would say non, il n'y a pas de fenêtre. Or if I wanted to say yes, I would say oui, il y a une fenêtre. So our no form means no, there aren't any, in this case, windows, and our yes form, yes, there are, or there is a window. And then coming up to the top in this column, the word combien means how many. I know it looks like combined, but it's not, it's a little bit different. So one of our phrases that we might want to ask is combien d'élèves il y a dans la classe, which combines a whole bunch of different phrases from this box to mean how many students are there in the class. So if I wanted to answer that question, I would just get rid of the yes in this third phrase here and just start with il y a. So if there are 10 students in our class, I would say il y a 10 élèves dans la classe. We'll be working a little bit more with that as time goes on. And if we want to talk about asking and saying how words are spelled, we're going to use this phrase here, which says comment ça s'écrit, which means how do you spell? It also technically means how is it written, which really is the same thing. If you ask someone how something is written, they would say, if they ask how window is written, they would say W-I-N-D-O-W. Same deal. You can also say comment tu appelles, which is just another way to say how do you spell. And then to answer for both of those, you can say ça s'écrit, which would mean it's spelled or it's written, and then you would spell out the word. And then our last one here, let me move the camera down, there we go. If we want to talk about email addresses, especially in this class, if you're going to be working with anyone on some sort of project or you want to study with them, you would want to say, quelle est ton adresse email? Which means what is your email address? And you can answer two different ways. You can answer with c'est, and then you would say your email address. Or you could answer with mon adresse email est, and then you would answer with your email address. Now, the arrobas is how we would say the at signs, little a in a circle, right? So if I was going to tell you my email address is rpace@wscloud.org, I would answer that with c'est rpace@wscloud.org. And you'll use that arrobas and point in the same phrase if you were going to say mon adresse email est rpace@wscloud.org.